Well, hello again. Welcome back to the garden. In case you're new here, my name is Brandon and I garden southeast of Houston, Texas in Zone 9B. And this week I've been kind of finishing up my cleaning, or I've gotten most of it done anyways, my garden cleaning. And in this area, that's kind of okay to do. And more north, you may want to wait because insects might be hiding out in your dead plants and things and need some protection. But here, there's a real chance, not 100% chance, but a real chance that I am done with winter in this specific area. But there's also always a chance that we will get another frost sometime in the future. But as we get closer to March, the chances really go down. And right now, the 10-day forecast is telling me, yeah, we might be done with winter here. But that's not 100%. Anyways, this week as I was doing some of my cleanup, I was walking out of the greenhouse and I happened to look down and I saw a Gulf fritillary butterfly nectaring on a calendula, and I was kind of struck by this. And you know, I see butterflies all the time in the garden, but it got me to thinking, oh my gosh, what is there for the butterflies to feed on at this time of the year after a hard freeze? And so I went walking around the garden looking at what kind of flowers I have, and it got me to thinking I need to plan a little bit better for next year and plant more of these things that are actually flowering and providing nectar at this time. So I want to take you guys on a quick tour, just to walk from end to end in the garden as much as I can anyways, because my garden is kind of four-dimensional. I garden inside the fence, but also where I have chain link and I have access, I garden directly on the other side of the fence, and I grow different plants on the other side of the fence. So I use every inch of space I can. I'm so happy to have a little bit of land to manage here. But without further rambling, let's go ahead and go have a little look at what kind of things are flowering in the garden and talk about why some of them are flowering. So I suppose this is what you would call the beginning of the garden, more or less. And there's really nothing particular flowering over here, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I do have a lot of wood sorrel, aka Oxalis debilis, blooming throughout the garden, and I will show those where I can, but not much more than that really. There is this plant, which is not a native as far as I'm aware, but this is Justicia spicigera, and it does have some flowers, so that is interesting. It's interesting to see that it didn't die all the way to the ground. And I apologize if I've got some funky camera angles going on right now, because I'm trying to use the gimbal in a weird position that I don't normally do, so that I can show things lower to the ground without breaking my back, which is kind of hurting right now. As we go this way, I really don't have a lot flowering, so I will stop when I see something. Got lots of things though to be excited about this year, and some things that could be flowering but are not. Like I've got a Salvia gregii or microphylla here, and then as I said, lots of Oxalis debilis. Don't believe I have anything in this area. This is the kind of section that I sacrifice to the insects and the other things. I pile up sticks and brushy things here so that the lizards have a place to hide from the cold. As we get this way, I do have a plant that I managed to save by throwing the banana leaves over it. So this is a significant source of nectar right now for some things visiting the garden. This is one of the ageratums, the Ageratum houstonianum. This whole little patch here, as I said, is only here right now because I tossed banana leaves all over it, and right after the freeze I uncovered it. It struggled a little bit for maybe a day, and then it bounced back and looks perfectly fine. As I go this way, actually more towards, it's hard to even go in a straight line here because I really garden everywhere I possibly can. But next to the tripod I do have a chrysanthemum. Now I'm not sure how much nectar this could be providing, but it is here, so I will count it in. Let's see, I do have some roses blooming. This one's looking a little rough right now. I need it to drop its leaves. That's Perfume Breeze. Oh, it smells amazing right now. Oh, I do have this ageratum, which happens to have been in a very protected area. And so this one managed to also kind of survive unprotected from me. I didn't touch this. And Salvia elegans, aka pineapple sage. So all of the other ones in the garden for this one did die back pretty hard, but that one managed to live. I'm pretty surprised about some of the things that survived. But another thing that's flowering here, although I don't know how significant the nectar is this Scabiosa. This is one of the perennial types, not the annual. I've had this for a few years now, and it comes back pretty reliably. I can't always get them to come back reliably like that, but it is there. Got some snapdragons scattered throughout the garden, and this one is doing pretty well. Some of the other ones got burned a little bit more. Now, I showed this earlier in the video. This is the calendula that was feeding a fritillary butterfly, and I think that's part of what I'm going to add more of next year are calendulas. I'm going to start saving some of the seeds here and hold on to them and grow more as long as I can. They don't do well in the heat of the summer, really, but they do pretty well in the winter. So as we go this way, I do have some more things I saved. So there's a lot of little things that are kind of diminutive and not noticeable to you unless you're really looking for them. And one of them is this, if I can focus on it somewhere, that's Stellaria media, I believe, aka chickweed. Kind of an annoying plant if you don't truly understand it, but that's got to be providing some amount of nectar for things. I don't see, oh wait, I do. There's also another cool weather annual here. This is Vicia, so one of the vetch species. So that is here blooming. This is an invasive species, Youngia japonica. So that's your false hawksbeard, and that's always flowering. So didn't skip a beat in this weather. Oh, this doesn't have as many blooms on it right now, but I showed it in a previous video. This is the Tagetes lucida, and it was flowering really well, but it kind of, I guess the flowers burned a little bit or aged out, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to cut this back soon. I do see a lot of chickweed as I'm walking through. I see a few ageratum that, as I said, I covered with leaves, and I managed to keep them going. And I also have the peach tree, so that's a significant source of flowers and things right now. Let's see if I can get this gimbal to cooperate. But yeah, there's a lot of nectar coming off of the peach, so that's pretty fun. I also have in a few places other flowering trees that have a few things. So this is one of the plums that's kind of new. That's Gulf Beauty. And we also have Methley. Some more Oxalis debilis. Apologies for the bad video. I'm trying, but I need to learn this gimbal better, and some of these bad videos are going to be how I learn how to make better ones. So yeah, this is one of the Monarch Magic ageratum. This one here is one of the ones that I managed to protect a little bit with some banana leaves. I lost some of it, but I managed to keep this alive and some of the roots alive. So as the year goes on, if I want to keep this really going, what I can do is I can pin it to the ground, and then it will root and continue on. Now, I'm not real keen on going all along the fence line because, as you can see, especially now, the fence line is much more exposed, and I don't love filming while people are watching. But there's not much blooming along the fence line particularly. I do have some Peggy Martin roses, but I don't think they are a very significant source of nectar, so I'm not going to claim that they are. Now, if these were a little further along, and I can't wait to show when they are blooming, these would probably be a significant source of nectar. This is Stachys drummondii. I have Stachys drummondii, coccinia, and a few others. Those are, what do you call those? Stachys. I'm not sure what the common name would be. Betony, that's it. It's Betony. Betony. A few other things over here, but nothing real significant. Some of the ornamental oxalis, they have flowers too. Don't know if I can get it to focus on them, but those are just my for fun plants that I put into pots. I'm not going to walk outside of the fence because, as I said, I don't love recording while people are watching. But I do have a couple of camellias in here. The Dreamweaver camellia, I hope I got some video of that when it was flowering. It's this thing in the center of the screen there. That looked really nice when it was flowering. And then I have another camellia. I don't love I like the camellias for their ornamental value, but they're not really great for any kind of wildlife value. But this is Pink Perfection. I'm hoping to grow this up into a really pretty tree, but again, as I get more into natives, I kind of regret planting things like this because it doesn't really provide much for the wildlife. It's just kind of a pretty thing, and I will atone for that sin by planting 10 natives in its place or in its honor. I know what you're thinking, not a very exciting video, and that is my point. As I was looking at that butterfly on the calendula, I thought, oh my gosh, there's really not much out here for the pollinators. And sometimes you have to look to nature and see what nature is doing to kind of figure out what the right thing to do is here. I'm going to use an example here. There was a big craze in recent years, maybe the past decade, about monarch butterflies. And there was a huge group of people that were well-meaning that started to raise monarch butterflies, get as much milkweed as they could, collect caterpillars from the wild and off of the milkweed plants in their garden, put them in cages, raise them in there, and then release them. And even in the most well-meaning circles, they would take them and test them for OE. It's a parasite that affects monarchs, and before releasing them. But recent science has shown, and the experts all agree, that rearing monarchs like that is not a good thing to do. We shouldn't just be producing as many monarchs as we possibly can. We're interfering with nature, and that causes all kinds of problems. For instance, if you're raising a bunch of monarchs that otherwise, wouldn't survive on their own, you may be messing with the gene pool. You may be rearing a bunch of monarchs that as soon as you release them, they don't know how to fly or whatever, and they don't know how to escape predators, and so they immediately die. So what was all that work for anyways? Or let's say they do go on to produce a generation full of individuals that don't know how to escape predators or have some other issue. Well, now you've got a huge portion of the population dying all at once. So there's all kinds of things to look at here as far as what the right thing to do is, but mostly you want to listen to the experts. And so I try not to be too resistant to nature. If I don't have a lot of things flowering right after a hard freeze, maybe there's kind of something I should look at here and say, should I go and add a bunch of non-native flowering plants like calendulas? I don't know. I feel like it's the right thing to do, but again, if I'm promoting all of these pollinator insects, adult versions to come and live on my calendulas, what happens when they're not doing the other things that they're supposed to do that I'm not thinking about? Maybe instead of adults surviving right now, they're supposed to be surviving in the larval stage, and maybe there are fewer of those if I'm promoting more adults. I don't know. We never know. So I'm thinking about all of this and trying to decide for myself, should I plan for more of these things? What I'm going to try to do, I think, is look out in nature soon. I'm going to be going on walks. I normally do in wooded areas and natural areas, prairies, and just seeing what is blooming out there. And I have a feeling it's mostly going to be what I saw blooming here. The Oxalis stabilis, the Vicia species, the vetches, things like that. So I'll try to take you guys along for that on one of these walks soon. I don't think I'm going to do one today because I'm not in the mood to go anywhere, but I soon will be. So I know this video didn't really provide any answers for anything other than what's blooming in Brandon's garden right now. I've just been doing a lot of cleanup, making things look kind of pretty for myself and preparing for the growing season. Other than that, not too many exciting things to look at. Lots of exciting things to do though. I think my next videos will probably be pruning videos because I've got a lot of pruning and shaping and pulling and twisting to do on some of the trees and such. So I guess I'll see you then, and until then, you guys have an awesome day. Like, share, subscribe if you want, because I guess that helps out. See you in the next one.